Righto, so we're up at Downunder Beachfest up at Downunder, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to come out. It's a cruise day out here today, and I've been fortunate enough to have one of the Bowdens here with me today. How are you, buddy?
Good, exceptionally good.
That's the go. So fortunate enough, he's going to give us a look through.
Yeah.
And check out the offices and just how they operate, and tell us a bit how Bowdens come about. And,
holy hell, yeah, it's a massive story. How long have you got here, Howard? Holy hell.
As long as it's interesting, mate. They keep telling me.
Well, it'll be interesting. I'll probably be the only one who watches this one, mate, so interesting to me anyway.
All right, Dan, sounds good. I'll grab the camera and we'll start walking around and see what we got.
Brilliant.
So, of course, the thing that grabs you straight away.
Yes. Okay, so this is Alan Moffat's GDHO Phase 3. It's actually the very first Phase 3 that was ever built back in 1971. And it was their first car down the line, was used as a development car as well. And then it just joined the Ford fleet. Moffat had his famous car 65E that raced at Bathurst. And that car was in an incident at Adelaide International Raceway in 1972. And this was the only car that Ford still owned. It was a Phase 3. So they commandeered it. It was originally white with tan trim. Commandeered it, went right through the thing, made it into Moffat's race car. And it raced the 1972 Endurance Championship, won a few races. And then in 1973, due to the supercar scare, they changed all the rules in racing. CAMS did, Confederate Australian Motorsport, and they made this thing into a proper race car. So all of a sudden, all the rules opened up, bigger wheels, bigger brakes, better engines. So you got a 450 horsepower Cleveland. You've got these awesome Moore wins. You'll know these are the Magnums in the front, the 500s in the front. Bigger brakes on the thing too. And that thing was just the first time they ever made a Phase into a race car. So Ford built 3 of these cars. Moffat car, Freddie Gibson had one, and Murray Carter had one. And they were the 3 cars that went out and raced the Australian Touring Car Championship. And this car went out. Alan Moffat, of course, number 1 driver for him. Macking year of Brock versus Moffat. And it all came down to the wire. And in the end, Moffat was the victor. Won the Australian Touring Car Championship. And then from that too was Moffat's first ever win in the Australian Touring Car Championship. It was actually the first Ford Falcon to ever win an Australian Touring Car Championship as well. So super significant car. Went through a number of different hands after that. We bought it off a fellow from Sydney. And it was literally the same. The money thing is just crazy. It was a lot of money in the day, but it was the same money as what a Phase 3 was, a regular one. No one saw the value in the race cars, and Dad was back in those days binding all the great Australian race cars.
If only we all knew, eh?
Well, that's it. Well, we didn't do it as a thing like that. We just did it because we love it. That's literally the honest truth. It was just, this is what we love, this is what we're passionate about, and that hasn't changed. And as it just works out, it's proved okay to do, monetarily as well.
So, mate, tell us a bit about...
Mate, we're making...
Obviously, the range is growing and growing.
Well, it's just a slow evolvement and a lot of just rehashing products we've got to make them better and better. So every single product we make, do and create ourselves. All done here. We've got our own chemist, own lab. We do all the R&D. Takes years to develop and create and make a product. And then we bring it out and then we give it just a good Aussie twist. Give it its own name, give it its own character. We put a hell of a lot of work into everything we do. It's sort of the mantra for us is that, you got to make sure everything's good, because you buy one product and it's crap, people are never going to get another one again. And the bigger one for us is, I don't want crap stuff to use in our own cars. So that's always been that's literally how it started back 24, 25 years ago. And it's sort of evolved on from there, and we just continue on going now too.
We can sneak out the back and have a bit of a look.
Yeah, let's go back thing. So our office is here. We moved here a few years ago. Car stuff everywhere, because that just literally, it's not just us doing it. This is how I'd have my home. And I have all the different models and all things that may have meaning to us in and through. All the different offices are all just different themed. And we've got lots of images and pictures, as you'll see as you go through the walls and things like that, of different cars that we actually have in the collection there too. So all models there of the different cars. So this is your office, I believe? Yeah, mate, I live in that neck of the woods. They're like 12, 14 hours a day every day.
Pretty cool outlook.
So a bit of fun. Yeah, mate. See the cars come in and stuff like that.
So so we've got a cruise happening here today. So a lot of the entrance from
hundreds of cars turning up. It's our biggest event as of today. And we've got 28 staff that work here, great team of people, and these are all the individual offices. There's all the crew that work with me. Front of house, we do all the marketing and bits and pieces like that with all the production and development.
So I think you said earlier that all the cars that are on the walls are in the private collection?
Yeah, in Dad's collection. Yeah, it's in the
Yep.
family collection. You got the Brock 79 A9X. That's just as macking as it gets, that car. Won Bathurst, of course, in 1979. And it's the car that won by 6 laps and set a new lap record on the final lap. It's one of the few cars, one of the 2 that ever led from start to finish when it actually won Bathurst. Dick Johnson's True Blue up there. That's probably my favourite Falcon of everything. That and number 9 are probably 2 of the best. But Dad's been friends with Dick Johnson since the 60s. They're still really good mates to this day. And that's up there in the collection. It's a wonderful original old car.
I was fortunate enough to be there that year.
Yeah.
Or unfortunate enough, whichever way you want to think about it.
That's all right. You're a bit of a fan of Dick?
Yeah. I was actually an individual member of his club back in the past.
That's
Still got the letter
well, you've been a Ford fan forever, so of
so
course.
I've still got the letter
inevitable.
from Dick inviting me, welcoming me to the crew sort of thing when they used to do it that way. So that was pretty good.
Before Dick Johnson, this one here, one of my favourite photos ever. This is Ian Pete Gagan and his 65 Mustang. That thing raced 78 times. It just phenomenal. There was only 3 times it didn't win, and it's one of the most winning. He was in the Guinness Book of Records, the most winning race car ever. And look at the crowd at Oran Park.
I know. And you look at the dress code and stuff. It's
just brilliant. What an era! What an absolute era. And Pete sideways. Moffat's Mustang in there with Matty's office, and that's another iconic one. That's one of my favourite photos of the Mustang there.
Yeah, I love that car.
Out at Calder, yeah, just the winner. And then moving on through. One of the iconic ones. You know, one thing we love the Australian-made mantra we are with Bowdens Own, and that Beachy Monaro literally epitomises what we're about as well. I love this. Funny enough, this is the accounts team office in here, and it's Beachy's Monaro when it won at Lakeside back in July in 1970 in two-wheeling through Hungary Corner. There, such an iconic photo taken by a really good friend of ours, Bri Thomas, has since passed away, but just a wonderful section of time, another one that's there in the collection too.
Well, good news is there's a bit of sunshine out there now, mate.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
A bit of value.
Yeah, so it's Sunshine Coast, come for the rain.
So we're just going to head out to the factory now.
Yeah, well, this is the warehouse, production crews in there, all the different areas every box, carton, all the packaging, everything's done by those crew. Got a team of a dozen really good people that work in there. And then out into the cars and out into the things. Obviously, we love cars, so got a heap of different cars in the collection here too, which, you know, if the people are ever in the area, they're welcome to come and say hello and ask for a bit of a look through, and we do show them because we love the cars. And then all the different bits and pieces we have. Yeah, this is this old Merc here too. Yeah, Brady. This old bloody thing. This thing's done 0 kilometres. It's a full factory-built race car. It's called Track Series. It's a really great mate of ours car. He races and does them, and he picked this up a couple of years ago, and we've had it up here. We had a Mercedes convention up here a couple of weeks ago, so we've just got it here on display. But literally, it's done 0 kilometres. But factory-built race car. The day will come, Howard, we'll be going, oh man, we remember when we were with one of these things.
Yeah.
Anything factory-built as a race car is just all time, and that's always been a strong focus for us too. So. But just a wonderful, wonderful bit of gear.
So you were saying earlier that this is basically the warehouse. So
it is. It is the warehouse.
But you've got another area where
we have a manufacturing shed where we started off when we first moved down this way. Ooh, it's lovely. And when we first moved down this way, and we still have that. And we manufacture out of there, and our team work out, and our labs in there. That's where all the chemists work from and everything as well, which is just awesome. And then we bring it to here, do a lot of the filling here, but also do the filling. I know it's going to get your attention.
So that's just handful pulling up out the front?
Yeah, mate.
See him cruising about last night, chucking a few laps?
Yes, well, that's what it's all about. Caloundra is a really old school, I live in Caloundra. It's got a great feel, a full coastal vibe, but it hasn't been overdeveloped, and a lot of the old original houses and units and all that are still there. So for a hot rod festival, it's fantastic.
And I see even your local MPs out plugging the event, which is good to see.
Oh, mate, no, the local councillor 100% behind it, and your local member of parliament too. He's actually a pretty good guy. Not many people say about politicians, do they? But really good guy. And our local guy, Terry, who's actually in Caloundra the Caloundra City Council area, is awesome and always banging on about public events and just doing the most for the community. And he understands the car community is a big part of that. The car culture in Caloundra is actually massive. Lots of surfers, lots of good collections down there, and all old school, not many modern collections and that too, so not like the cities and that too. It's all the old stuff, the real stuff. So these are all just different.
I see your name on the side of this one.
Yeah, it's my rally Mustang, 65 GT350 Mustang. Does really good skids, and I love tarmac rallying because you can legally run out there and run as hard as you want for days on end, and it's just a total escape. This gets pretty encompassing, running this business, and you're just looking for things just to set your mind. You never end. When you own your own business, and anyone that's got one will tell you, you never really leave it. You're constantly doing stuff. And we did this thing up over COVID. COVID got pretty full on, and we were just like, shit, we couldn't leave Queensland. So there was a Targa rally. And I'd had this car already 2 years, and I had been too busy to prep it. And sure enough, we went, okay, let's go to Targa North Queensland. Did it, went up there, had a hell of a lot of fun. I ended up winning the event too in the GT. Which was like, yeah, it was nuts. Yeah. Look, it was a bit of a Steve Bradbury moment. I'm going to put it out there, but it doesn't matter. We got the win, so that was fantastic. But all cool cars, and all cars that we've done up as well. You know, the little Landy here, that's why people, it's a bit of a weird, it's the worst car ever to drive, the whole thing, reliability, the whole lot, but I just love it. It just gives you a totally different drive appeal to everything else. And the old XY, as I was saying to you earlier, I've known this car since I was 13 years old. We grew up in the GT Owners Car Club of Queensland, and I remember going to Valor Park down in northern New South Wales. All the clubs would congregate and meet there, and I remember this car because of the colour as a kid, and I always loved Wild Violet. And for me, it was like, shit, I always want to get a Wild Violet XY. And I always thought it'd be a Fairmont or a GS and that. And then as it just came to be, this car popped up for sale, and we managed a deal and got it, and then we started doing the due diligence on it, and we're all about the history of the cars and what they're about and where they came from and everything. We saw this car was brand new in Mariba, and one of my best friends, his family, he's an Italian guy, and he's got family up there. He goes, mate, we'll look it up, find out, you know, if anyone knows about it. And within a day, we found the original owner for the car, and the family came out with all the photos of it brand new, and yeah, I just love it. We've gone right through the thing. I had a lot of repo parts and everything. We've swapped it all out for original parts, but drives really well now, this car. Bathurst Nationals.
I was going to say, you said, yeah, because I seen it at the Nationals.
Yeah,
and,
best drive.
You did the drive, yeah?
Yeah, look, the drive down was horrific. The typical, look, not horrific, let's call it challenging but fun. Yeah. And it's rewarding because we kept it running and we got it there. We had heating issues, carburation issues, just all the usual stuff when you take up your first big run. But anyway, sorted them all out on the go, thanks to all the different auto stores along the way that you can. Oh, that's the beauty of it, isn't it, in Australia?
It is. You
can run and go, and these things here, mate, all the parts there are mostly available. Mechanically anyway. So anyway, we were able to fix everything as we went down. And then on the way home, it ran faultlessly. We literally did 30-hour drive on the way home, and it was brilliant.
It's a cool one to remember.
Oh, it was just, literally that. You know? And that's what the cars are about, isn't it? It's about the experience you get to have with them. It's not just, look, it's a bit pointless just looking at them. Mate, you have to. And this car here, this is the old HK. I love HK Monaros. I was looking for one for about 6 or 7 years. There's a lot of them pop up. And a really great mate of mine, Nick Moran, was always helping me. And like basically he was finding cars, and then he'd go, that shit, that's not good. And the hardest thing about these is the parts, and you want original parts. And if the car doesn't have them, mate, good luck finding them, because a lot of guys that have these cars, they just keep the parts because they realise just how scarce it is, or they only let them go out to the right people. So Nick was always going, that's repo, that's what you don't want this. So every single car I looked at, he rejected. And then quite tragically, the last time I spoke with Nick, he said to me, hey, I've got this battle with cancer. And it was incredibly upsetting. Well, I won't come down to see you. He goes, look, I'm going through chemo, wait till I'm through it. And he didn't make it through, which was really tragic. He's a great mate of the family. Anyone that knows Nick will know one of the most passionate guys ever, and literally the biggest frother on cars. And there was no such thing as a short conversation with Nick. Yep. Every conversation was like a minimum 1 hour. No, well, you can say it. You can talk. Yeah. Holy shit, I've watched you give a monologue for an hour, mate, on your talk.
My wife just come up and said, where's the keys to the car? I've had enough.
Yeah.
I've been dragging around for 40 odd years doing all this stuff, but yeah, and people comment,
she's a good sort, mate. I like her.
Passion doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. But anyway, with Nick, the family offered it to me, and I just couldn't say no.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen the car and got it, and I was freaked. We went down. He lived in Yamba in New South Wales. We drove down, and we took the trailer down because you don't know what you're going to get. But you know how you drive a car and you work out within about 10 or 15 minutes if the car's good or not.
Okay.
Mate, in 5 minutes, I knew I hopped in this thing. Everything felt brilliant. I went, holy shit. I said to Peter, mate, I'm driving this all the way back. And it ran faultlessly. And this is now one of my favourite cars. That is just, it's all original, beautifully done. Nick was an engineer. He did a wonderful job at keeping together and restored the paint on that thing. I'm pretty sure it's from about 1990, 92 it was painted. It won Monaro Nationals, and I think the first one was in 99, and it won there. And then it's just been kept and maintained. And it's just a lovely car. Been featured in a few magazines and books and everything. But every time I see that, I get very emotional about it because I think of Nick. And a personal thing.
And that's the best part about the cars, isn't it?
It is. There's always, there's something that connects us to them. There is, and that's, and if there isn't a backstory, well, you're not into cars, are you? That's the honest truth. You're not getting them to, unless you want to meet dudes. Then there's another reason to get cars.
Exactly.
Yeah, not for women, just to meet dudes. Yeah.
And the big banger, mate?
Mate, well, this is the real deal. This is John Harvey's car, one from the family collection. And this came famously second at Bathurst back in 1984. This last year at Bathurst, Group C is the greatest year. And 1984 was the greatest year of racing in Australian touring car racing. And this was the end of it. HDT built up these two cars, this iconic Dayglow livery. And, mate, they went out and they had a fantastic time. But the 1-2 at Bathurst, it's one of only a couple of times that's actually happened. And they put on a fantastic dominant display that day. But to build these cars, end of era, and they were going to be processed, like, it didn't make sense. Truthfully, monetarily, it just didn't make sense to even do this. Like, why would you spend all this money on building up 2 new cars for the last few rounds? But, hey, Brock was in charge. He was a very passionate guy, and he went out there and did it all. We bought the car. There was a lot of conjecture with these cars, what was 05, what was 25, and for us it was pretty clear cut. Brocky said this was 05, and look, we come to understand why he thought that, and understand 100% with the previous owner why he backed him, with Brocky being a good mate of his, and he wasn't going to back down from that. And that's what you do with your mates, especially after they passed away. And so he kept it 05 the whole time. Then we got the chance to acquire it a few years later. And of course, the first thing we did was put it back to 25. John Harvey was a personal friend of the family, come and stayed with us numerous times, come to a few of our events. Absolute gentleman and legend of a guy, and he was always adamant this was his car. So to put it back, unfortunately John passed away before he got to see this back as 25, but we're getting it all running again now. The plan is to have it running at Bathurst this year. We're going to race it.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, my brother's going to race it in the Group C and A race, and it's going to be fantastic.
That'll be a big moment.
Well, it will. Well, the original cars in the Bathurst Museum, you're not going to see that back on a track. It's all original unrestored. It's an incredible car, but at least this one we can get it out and do it. And it's, this car's had a life, and it's all shiny in that now, but we can actually go out and use it and race it, and that's what's going to happen with it. So yeah, and look, they never build it. The guys go, I got a GT panel van, or I got a GT Ute. Look, didn't with a shaker. It's all bullshit. There weren't any. But this thing here, just done up, it's just a bit of fun. It's actually the same colour as the Moffat Phase 3, and so it's a Vermilion Fire panel van done up by a crew in Sydney. One of those ones we bought at auction. We should have looked at it a bit close, because we actually had to respray it and go right through it all again. It was like, holy hell, and just fix up a lot of things. It's just come back a little while ago, but we've painted it back. It was actually, there's 2 colours in these Fords. There's Brambles Red and Vermilion Fire, and they're very close, but this was actually painted in Brambles Red, which is an XW colour, and some XYs came out at 2, and we put it back. You put it next to the Moffat car, and you can see the difference in the hue. So we put it to Vermilion Fire, so it matches the Moffat car, and it's a good look because we use this to tow the Moffat Phase 3, and it's a really good look of the 2 cars together.
It's funny when you have Vermilion Fire in the tin and you're stirring it, it looks orange.
It is, well, it is, it's an orange.
It's really orange.
It is, yeah, no, it is.
Once it dries out, it gets a bit more of a
They're
red
dark,
look
yeah, they're looking at, but it's one of the great colours. I love that the Ford racing team colour was red or orange back in the day. But yeah, just one of Al Turner's legacy there with that, because he saw the Brambles trucks and said, I want my cars that colour. So that gives you a bit of a sort of a run through a lot of different cars. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff there. And of course, up in Dad's collection, everything's macking, everything's amazing, and that's where the passion for everything we do here has come from. We've grown up with cars, we love cars, and everything we do in Bowdens Own reflects that.
Hopefully not in the too distant future. I might be able to twist your arm and
look out,
with a camera.
Mate, we haven't had that open for 6 or 7 years. My dad's not well, and it's his home, and there's a bit of a backstory to that. But so we actually haven't had that open for a long time. But give us a bit of notice next time, and we'll see. If enough people say in the comments, I want to have a look at it. Yeah, we'll see how we go.
So there you go, everybody.
Subscribe and like. Help out our channel. There you go.
Mate, really
should be a YouTuber too, mate.
The time.
Yeah.
And
thank you, Howard.
It's good to be able to get a look around, get up here, and just see.
Well, mate,
how big
you're a legend in the Australian community, and it's an absolute honour for you to have this chat with you, mate. So I'm really stoked myself. So I grew up looking at Street Machine and your cars, and I'm a Ford fan as well. So to have you coming through today, I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Right, so I've got Fuzz on the microphone now, and mate, it's hot, that microphone. That man can talk.
Yeah, he can talk.
So,
and knows what he's talking about.
what he's talking about. So today's a bit of a cruise for the entrants that come out here and have a bit of a barbie and stuff. So we had a reasonable shower of rain when we pulled up. So obviously the chamois have been running hot.
Yep, they've had the super soakers out.
And we've got quite a few cars. And I'm going to get most of these at the show and shine, but I just thought I'd show people a bit of what goes on at this event. A bit unusual there, Fuzz.
Yeah. Something you're not expecting under there.
Got the Barbie cranking.
Do Bunnings out of a job today, they will.
So the whole handful was out cruising last night, chucking a few laps. So it's still got the pump on it, Fuzz. It's not the Ram.
Took the Ram off.
How we doing?
Have a look at that red one over there, mate.
Hey?
Check that red one out.
GT in as well.
Look.
Well, there's a bit of a mixed bag going on here, Fuzz.
There's a bit of everything, yeah. It's, yep.
Well, I wonder what's lurking under there. Hey? It's got carbon fibre hat hanging out the top.
Yeah, it's got the...
So I'm sure we'll see a lot of cars here that you won't normally see on our channel, because this really is a more a cruising style event.
Hey, big van. So you're saying last night, Fuzz, your ute might have been a pickup if you could have found one? It would have been, yes, but I couldn't find one way back then, so I took the second best choice, and that was an XW ute, so. It was actually my wife's bloody choice, but...
The XW?
No.
Simon Krieger, fancy seeing you here, mate.
Living the dream, what are you doing?
Same.
Same.
Living the range.
So you got to go all the way to Queensland to catch up with locals from Wollongong.
Yeah.
It's that little daddo that was following us yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yep. He's been doing a bit of cruising.
They're that small, when he was following us in the FG, I couldn't see it in the mirrors.
Yeah.
The nice hot rods.
All these cars went round here earlier when I was here, so.
Right. So we'll catch up with all these at the show and shine, but I just thought I'd get a bit of a look around.
There's that angry wagon.
Oh yeah, that was out cruising last night too. Alright, well I might call that a wrap for now, so it's thanks to the Bowdens for having us out today, and I hope you enjoy that bit of footage we got from the event here today.
Very good.